Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective. Happy Tuesday. I almost said Monday. Seriously. It's Tuesday. We have gratitude number 13 and 14, I believe it's today. I think it's 13 and 14. I'll have to double check, but we have yesterday's because there was no perspective yesterday due to the holiday. Wow. Their cards just really kind of coming out here. So how is everyone today? How was your 4th? I know some people are, feel a little indifferent about it, but, I have a shirt that I wasn't able to wear yesterday because it was a little warm outside, so I wore something else, but I love Goofy. Good morning, older sibling. So, but yeah, I know some people are indifferent, and that's, that's understandable, and everybody has their rights. So I think enough of these cards have come out of here. But otherwise, that being said, I always think we can do better. I do. I mean, just to make people feel better and more comfortable and, like they belong, right? I mean, this country is for everybody. And, I try to do my best to gratitude good things. So, that's my thing is, I'm trying not to be angry all the time anymore. And sometimes it's hard because, people make it hard, but, that's one of the reasons I'm doing the gratitude lessons, because I think we could use a good healthy dose of something good, something good. So first card, we have a lot, guys. It was like a freaking stack. It's like yesterday and today, all the needy people. So I'm just kidding. All right. Well, that's interesting. I got Gryffindor. So I made these cards out of stickers and stuff, and I love them, but I was trying to put like a Harry Potter spin into it. I mean, they're obviously all different kinds of cards, but I did have these. But courage, bravery, daring, determination, nerve, and chivalry. Now, you don't have to be sorted into the Gryffindor house in order to embody these things. I mean, I'm a Hufflepuff. But one of the things I like about this is that I've been going through a lot myself, and I've been going through a lot of things that really a lot of times just feel like they're going to frickin' break you, right? Like you just can't. You just cannot. And I think a lot of times it does take that courage and that bravery and that determination and that nerve to find your way through, to find a way to really kind of become, what it is that you want to become without constantly throwing yourself under the bus, without constantly making yourself feel bad. It's not always easy to face spooky stuff. And by that, I mean life. Right? You're trying to face life and you're just like, really, what the hell? It's like every time you feel like you catch your footing, something else seems to just kind of body slam you into the concrete. Not even a soft place to land, just the concrete. And it is painful and it's hard and it hurts and you just want to scream. So let's see, number 2. Many have the ability to manifest instantly. Watch your thoughts and keep them positive. Yeah, I tend to manifest the wrong things because I live in my own little pity party sometimes, and I really don't want to do that anymore. I really want to kind of step away and just be this great version of myself that I know I can be, but I've never trusted to be. And I think a lot of times we let those kind of things, when we manifest bad things and bad situations, happen because we don't want to be judged, right? We don't want other people to say, oh, well, you're stupid. Don't worry about other people. And I'm being 100% serious. Don't worry about other people. Okay. The only opinion that should matter to you is yours. All right. So be careful with your thoughts. Number 3, do you need to view the situation through different lenses? Perspective. If you're struggling and you're not sure why, and you're not sure if you're able to get through it or not, step out of the box, step out of the box. Just try to view it, put yourself literally in someone else's shoes, looking at your life And then maybe you can see where things need to change. Maybe you can see where there might be room for that courage, that bravery, that determination, that nerve that you need to move forward. Because the world is lucky to have you. The world is lucky to have you. I like that this card showed up in here, and I'm going to save that because I want to finish with that one. Give your wishes, your worries, your burdens, your dreams to the universe. Let it float away from your grip. Okay, don't give your worries to the universe, because the universe is just going to bring that back to you. Just let them go. Let them go like, you know, I don't know, like if you were holding sand and your hand was hit with water, right? Just let it dissipate. Let it go away. It causes more pain to worry than it does to trust and believe the process. And trust me, I speak from experience as a Class A worrier. Worrying gets us nowhere. It really doesn't. It causes anxiety, it causes animosity, it causes a lot of problems, you know? I mean, I think part of the problems that we know we're struggling with right now, just in general, is because we worry so much about change and about progress that a lot of people want to keep things the same, but you can't. We're constantly growing. I mean, we're constantly growing. And to be honest with you, you know, the country I live in, I live in America. We're not that old. All right, we're not that old. We're 246 years old as of yesterday when we declared independence. Not the day we won our independence, for a lot of people that seem to think that. It's the day we claimed or proclaimed our independence. But there had already been fighting going on. And there had been fighting going on because there was a different vision for what this place could be. But it seems to me that every century we start out doing the same fucking things over and over and over again. And it's just this really stupid cycle. You know, with hate and racism and all this stupid junk. And, you know, I mean, you look back 100 years and we're kind of in the same place. Our technology is just better. But where are we? Still treating people unequally, still treating people poorly, still making judgments on everybody whose lives don't mean anything to us. And by that I mean, it's somebody else's life. Let them live the way they want to live. You know, but people are so afraid of progress that they fight it. And then the funny thing is even when it feels like good can't win, somehow it prevails. And then people look back and go, oh, why did I fight so hard against this? Because it's actually not that bad. You know, I mean, I kind of did that last week. I was a little nervous about going somewhere yesterday with sibling for a party because, you know, I mean, it's been a while since I peopled. You know, my people skills are not up to snuff. But, and I didn't really know a lot of people there. I hadn't seen a lot of these people in a long, long time. And I don't have the same rapport as them as older sibling does. And I was nervous. And I got cranky and bitchy and I was just a hot mess this last week. And to be quite frank, I was a bit of an asshole. I wouldn't even say a bit. I was just straight up an asshole because I was scared. I was worried. I had all this anxiety peaking. And then guess what? I get there, I have fun, I come home, it's like, oh, super tired because I went out and did something. It was a good tired. It wasn't like a, you know, oh God, I've sat around and done nothing all day, I'm going to go to bed kind of tired. It was like, yeah, I slept the sleep of the just because I had a good time. I had a good time. And then I thought to myself, why did I fight so hard against this? The one thing I tell everybody not to do, not to fight so hard against things, to just go with the flow. I didn't trust the process and I didn't go with the flow. So worrying sucks. All right. Listen to your favorite music. Having a bad day? Listen to your favorite music. Having a great day? Listen to your favorite music. Feeling like you need to journal and you're being a bit angsty, find the angsty music. You know, I had to download a bunch of songs just to get some journal stuff out of my head. And I was like, wow, this really does work. But it was also a little concerning that I had to download angsty songs to do it. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do. You know, that's why I have different playlists. So, looking for that validation, here it is. Go, set yourself free. Go and set yourself free. All right. I travel the world. Look, here's London. So, I think, what is it on here? New York, India, Egypt, Paris, London, Sydney. Oh, poor Sydney. Sydney, Australia is underwater right now. I was watching the news this morning and they have gotten about 8 months worth of rain in like 4 days. I know. So, platform 9 3/4. I love this one. In fact, I actually put the bigger sticker of this in my notebook. And this is why. You have to trust that what you are running at will see you through to the other side. Now, anybody not familiar with Harry Potter will not understand that, but platform 9 3/4, you actually had to run at a brick wall and you would come out on the other side. Now, if you were just a regular human, I would say muggle, but come on, there were some muggles that were, at the School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. But, Hogwarts accepted all. But yeah, if you were not intended to go to this school, you would have just hit that wall, right? So you have to trust that what you are running at will see you through to the other side. Have a good idea? Make it happen. So I have to say, I have a great idea. I wrote a short story almost last summer, and I got it re-edited finally, and I was waiting for feedback on it. I got one person. Out of the 3 people I sent it to, I got one person's feedback. But it was enough. But somehow I feel like I really want to kind of turn it into a play. Like, I really think people would benefit from this. It was my friend that did review it said it perfectly. She told me, she's like, I bet it was pretty cathartic writing it. And it was. It was. I mean, it's not exactly my story, but it's just pain. And I don't mean pain like, it's not an angsty show. I think it's one that would open people's eyes into understanding a lot about mental health, but done in a way that's a little less lectury. Like people just standing there saying, well, blah, blah, blah. Because mental health is different for everybody, including the fact if you haven't dinged at mental health, I'm pretty sure there are no 2 people alike, excuse me, that have these, that deal with this issue. So including myself. So start each day with a grateful heart. Thank you, and thank you. Start each day with a grateful heart. That is definitely necessary. I did not. So you know what? I'm going to give you a little life lesson here for anybody that might be new. This morning I woke up and I don't always check my phone first thing, but I did today, and I had a bit of an issue with something that happened, and I almost let it ruin my day because I missed canceling something, and then I got charged for it, which isn't a big deal if I had a job, but it was a big deal. And so I started panicking, I started crying, I was freaking out. And the first thing I forgot to do was be grateful. Be grateful that, it didn't cause a bigger issue. I forgot to be grateful for, having the money to pay for this. It's just one of those things where you panic about certain things because it's like, it's the first thing like you feel you need to do and you worry. And so I came out of my room, and older sibling's room is right across from mine. We're roommates. And she could see I was a little distressed. And she talked me down. Now, if I would have stayed in my room, and thank God for having to pee in the morning, right? If I would have stayed in my room, I would probably not be in a good place right now. I would probably not be, talking to you. I may have just actually have canceled this because there's sometimes when things just feel like, you do everything the right way and nothing feels like it's working out when we can't see what might be working out in the background. It's very possible that it was a test. It's very possible that, how I handled yesterday's party I went to was a test. And to me, I keep kind of tripping myself. And yet at the same time, I thought, well, God, I keep tripping myself. But this morning, I could have just said nothing. Nothing's wrong. I'm fine. And gone back to my room and wallowed and let it destroy my day. But instead, I opened up. And I can honestly tell you that is not somebody I was 2 years ago. That was not somebody I was 8 years ago. I would just try to deal with it myself and let it fester, fester, fester until it starts coming out on everybody else that you care about, and you just, then you feel guilty, right? It's that ugly cycle. You hold your doubts, your anxieties, your fears in. They build, 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 build until they explode like a volcano. And then everybody around you gets hit by either an ember or just straight up lava. That would be the venom coming out of your mouth. And then you feel bad after. You're like, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have done that. I'll never do that again. And then you jump right back on that little hamster wheel and cycle through again. So, to older sibling, thank you for talking me off the ledge this morning, because I want to keep my head in a good place. And there are times when it's like I said, I'm not used to having anxiety, okay? Anxiety is not something that I've ever really felt like I had to deal with. I just think it was always so embedded in my depression that I didn't realize that it kind of contributed to my depression. So now that I'm feeling a little more mentally balanced, I still have to figure out how to balance this anxiety thing, because I've never had to really deal with it on its own. It's almost like there's a spotlight on it now. And I don't want to deal with it anymore. And I don't mean like I just want to forget it. I mean, I want to actively pursue and find a way to balance it like I balanced my depression. Because I think when we allow ourselves that, when we know that we're worthy enough for these things, everybody's worthy of feeling okay, and everybody's worthy of feeling good in themselves. And a lot of times when we start to come out and say, wow, I feel great, I feel this, I feel that, you have someone come along and say, well, you're a bit conceited, aren't you? It's like, and then, they say it whether it's a joke or not. But you have to watch what you say to people sometimes, because you don't know what they're dealing with. This person may feel like for the first time in their life, they feel so great. They have that self-love. They're feeling really pumped about themselves, and someone comes along and with one phrase, one thought, just takes them out at the knees and sends them right back into their spiral that they were in. So I'm here to tell you, if you have been struggling and you finally are finding some kind of footing where, even if it's just one day out of 10, that you feel absolutely fabulous, you feel fantastic, you feel like the most beautiful human being in the world, you are not conceited, you are not a narcissist, and you go with that feeling. Because if you go with that feeling, it might just seep into the next day, and you might start building blocks with just that good feeling. Or not building blocks, but, building that confidence, building that self-love, that self-worth. Don't let anyone take that from you. A lot of times people will say things like that because they're afraid to let the world see who they really are. And I don't want anyone to feel that way. I don't want anyone to feel like they have to hide because they're afraid someone's going to say something nasty to them. I've had that where it's like, I would post some things online. It's like, yeah, feeling really smart today, or wow, there's some days where I feel like I just have this best day where I can feel myself just glowing. I had a great picture I took about a year and a half ago, and I was just trying to do something for a new profile pic, and I was like, oh, I really like that. And I just put it on Facebook and thought, oh, you know what? And I was not really joking, but kind of trying to feel confident. And I'm like, wow, I said, I look pretty hot today. And there were some people, like all the comments in the comments were nice. But then later when I was talking to someone in person, it's like, wow, a little bit big on yourself, aren't you? And it's just like, all those compliments that I received in that post and all the kind words were absolutely negated by that one person's comment. And I'm not sure if they were trying to be funny. I'm not sure if they feel like maybe it reflects on them or what, but it hurt. And people will sit there and say, stop being so sensitive. I'm not that. I can be sensitive. I'm not going to say I'm not. But it's like, I don't think it's called for. If it's not nice, why do you need to say it? I mean, what are we raised to talk about and to say or to believe? If you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. But people think that they're doing you a favor. like this last weekend, on Friday, Stranger Things dropped, right? And I have to say, because of the teams I follow in sports, a lot of their rivals, their fans could just be straight up assholes. Okay, I'm not saying my team doesn't have asshole people, but we are put down quite a bit by other people's fans. And that's not everybody. It's just not the people I know, because I know great people that follow all these different teams. But all I put was, oh my God, I'm so excited. The anticipation's raising. And I wasn't going to be able to watch it until that night. Some douchebag comes on and gives spoilers. Literally. This happens and that happens. And I thought, okay, well, you know what? This is not the first time someone's tried to spoil things for me. But I was on my game that day. I don't know if they were trying to start a fight or just try to make themselves feel good about themselves or whatever, but I didn't bite. And I think in the end it just pissed them off so much they just stopped. But then they started in with somebody else, and it's like, and this poor person wasn't going to be able to watch for like 2 weeks. And it's like, why? Why do people do mean things? And this person just says, well, if it's an attitude I like, so I just lean into it or something like that. And I'm just like, what a sociopath. People who just don't care about how other people feel. People who just say whatever is on the top of their head. And some people, I get it. Some people have mental conditions that cause these things. But this person, I would almost guarantee did not. It was an introverted person, sadly. And I know a lot of wonderful introverted people who are constantly building other people up. I have a tendency to be introverted from time to time. But this person was just trying to be hurtful because it made them feel good about themselves. And I wasn't going to bite. I was just going to be like, nope. It's like they said something mean. Thanks for the compliment. They were actually convinced I was younger than I was. But they tried to convince me I wasn't an adult. But I just said, hey, thanks for the compliment as I get ready to drive to run errands. But regardless, there are going to be times when hurt people stop hurting people. I used to be a hurt person who hurt other people. I sometimes would say things that did not need to be said because I was hurting and I just wanted to crush everyone else around me. And I really kind of make myself sound worse than I was. I wasn't that bad. But you see, when you're the person who's done some of these things, you see how painful it can be for other people. You see how you spend so much time being one way that you set such a tone that people just start associating with you with that. And then when you get better, when you start to feel better, you have to start breaking people out of those habits that you created. You have to start breaking people out of, my response is not the same like it used to be. But I can't change unless you see that I've changed. And that's where we have to take our own accountability for our own actions and realize, hey, you know what? I'm the one that kind of started up that storm or put that bad habit into place. Now I'm the one that has to find a way to break it. Even if it's not your habit. The way we treat people is very important. The way we treat people daily is very important. If you want people to take you seriously and you want people to see you for who you are, open up. Open up. Truly open up. Like I said, I could have let what happened this morning ruin my day. And it was like right out of the gate, it was ruining my day. I was, I had a little bit of a tiny meltdown. And by that, I mean, I just started crying. But fortunately, sibling was awake and she saw me. She leaves her doors open because the kitties come and go in her room. But she could see when I came out of my room, something wasn't right. And like I said, I could have lied to her and said, I'm fine. She would have known I wasn't, but I could have lied and said, hey, I'm fine. Just leave me alone. But I didn't because I knew what would happen if I did. And so that's the leaf I keep trying to turn over. I don't want to be a hurt person hurting people because hurt people hurt people. Right? Or, They do things because it makes them feel better about themselves. And to be honest with you, I think that's what this person was doing. They were just trying to do something to make them feel better, to make themselves laugh or chuckle or giggle. And they don't care who they hurt as long as they feel okay. And I don't know their circumstances. I don't. And honestly, maybe I shouldn't be that judgy about it. Because clearly for someone to do that without any thinking about it, there's a lot of pain there. Or a very severe disconnect. But I'm just going to go with the fact that there's probably a lot of pain there. Maybe they've been bullied, so they've turned into someone that they can bully through cyberspace, right? But like I said, I felt bad because when I was no longer willing to engage by just saying, thanks for the compliment, see you later, I was going back through my scroll and somebody else had replied to this person. I'm pretty sure they said, I hope I don't see any spoilers until July 18th because I can't watch till then. And right below it, that person commented, almost like they just cut and pasted everywhere. And I just looked at my sister and I was just like, you got to be joking me. Seriously? But just remember, karma does come back around. The wheel will come back around. And when it does, I'm hoping that they understand that actions have consequences. And, somebody eventually is going to be hurt enough that they're going to hurt back. And I don't mean in a bad way, but I mean, maybe something will happen to this person that will ruin something that was meant to be a surprise for them. And in a way, I hope they understand what they've done to other people. I mean, hey, I've never been a parent, but I always thought I would be a pretty decent one. But anyways, I'm on my soapbox and I apologize for that because we're here for gratitude. And so, maybe somehow with all these cards, because I'm just kind of rambling off in the world of rambles, maybe somehow today's gratitude will tie into this, But anyways, I wanted to finish with this because the world is lucky to have you. The world is very lucky to have you. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say the world is lucky to have me too. So, no, not conceited. No, not a narcissist. I know the value I add to this world now. And part of the whole idea of the perspective is for people to see the value they add to this world as well. That's my goal. I just want people to know that they do belong here. And I want people to know that they fit here in whatever way that they do, maybe that whole thing that happened with that person that likes to give spoilers, maybe the whole idea for that was for me to see how I would handle it. It might have been a test for me to see how I would handle it, to see how I would, respond. And I know me. Several years ago, it would have just gone into all-out war, probably. Just, trying to be why are you like this? And trying to tell people how to live their lives, right? That's not my job. My job is to put something out there, plant that seed, or just like a big billboard, right? Put it out there, and if you see it and it resonates, it resonates. I'm not here to force you to believe anything. I'm just here to share my perspective on a lot of different things, to share how I feel, and there will be people that agree, there will be people that don't agree, and it's okay, because like I said, I no longer live in this place where I feel like it's my way or the highway. That's not who I want to be, and I don't think that's ever who I wanted to be. It was a comfort zone. It was how I controlled my world. If everybody's like me, I don't have to worry about them. I don't have to not trust them because I know me and I trust me. Truth is, I really didn't trust myself. If I trusted myself, I wouldn't be worried about what everybody else thought. And that's the way I need to live now. Trust is not my big thing. That'll be a story for another day. But that goes all the way back to my childhood trauma. Trust is something that I've never really been able to fully grow into. I've just had to learn how to figure out how to fit it into my life. Especially when you start healing and you realize, oh my God, how can I trust, other people when I couldn't even trust myself to know the difference in things. And I'm learning that. I'm learning to trust myself, which I think is actually the biggest thing, is trusting ourselves. So let's just get to it. Day number 13, which was yesterday, and day number 14, which is today. First gratitude is from Kristen Armstrong, number 13, lesson number 13. When we focus on our gratitude, the tide of disappointment goes out and the tide of love rushes in. That could totally just fit with what I just said, my whole long diatribe on my soapbox, on the Shelley soapbox. But when we focus on gratitude, the tide of disappointment goes out and the tide of love rushes in. And that's interesting because what I told you, I talked to my sister this morning, that's the first thing she said. We should be grateful because these things keep happening on these particular days and we know it's going to be okay. And I was just kind of like, she's right. She's right. There are so many things to be grateful for. And, you know, here's the deal. Whether you believe in the battle of good and evil is your choice. But whenever things seem to be going right and progressing in a good direction, we'll always notice that some kind of wrench gets thrown into the works, right? And we just get all upended. We start, regardless of what you believe, whether you have a higher power or you don't, it could whatever it is, we have to be bigger than it. We have to be bigger than the negativity. We have to be bigger than the anxiety that is caused by things. And it's not easy. It's not. That's why gratitude. That's why I'm doing the 28 lessons of gratitude, because it's not always that easy. But when we start being grateful for everything we can see, touch, hear, smell, feel, and by that I mean, I know touch and feel, but I mean things we can touch, but things we also feel internally. You know, I felt great joy that I had a sister there, who was able to rescue my thoughts and put them back in a good place so that I can go out throughout this day and be exciting. In fact, she's the one that bought me this shirt. Right? Super cute. So anyways, and Goofy. Can you see me drawing a heart over Goofy? I know, I love Goofy. So anyways, number 14, to give thanks in solitude is enough. Thanksgiving has wings and goes where it must go. Your prayers know your prayers know much more about it than you do. Victor Hugo. Victor Hugo wrote some pretty good damn books. I believe he wrote The Hunchback of Notre Dame, also wrote Les Miserables. I think I said that right. You know, 2 years of French class, it didn't seem to help. But, Les Mis. We'll shorten it to Les Mis. Les Miserables. But, yeah, very profound. I mean, if you've ever read some of the books, there's a lot of deep thinking in there. You know, a lot of times we don't want to read books. I don't want to read fiction because of blah, blah, blah. Fiction is still coming from somebody. And a lot of times they put their own thoughts and feelings into every single one of these characters. You know, sometimes for me, because I love to write stories, I'm not published because I have George McFly syndrome, but sometimes I've written an entire story based on one quote in my head. Just one random thought. Not a quote from somebody, but I mean just what ends up becoming a quote in my book. But just a random thought I have, and thought, you know, maybe I'm even saying it out loud and it kind of flies out of my mouth. It's like, ooh, that would be really good. And then when you put it into context, into whatever part of the story that it's in, you're like, wow, this really gives me, you know, pause to think. And we forget that a lot. You know, so to give thanks in solitude is enough. Thanksgiving has wings and goes where it must go. Your prayer knows much more about it than you do. If you are literally, you know, maybe somebody did something wonderful for you, you have no idea who it is. Okay, a very, very wonderful blessing happened for sibling and I a few months ago, and recently even, and all I could think of was this, or how to kind of put it into what this quote from Victor Hugo is that we didn't know who did this for us, But we sent up a thanks, and we did send an email thing saying, hey, could you please let them know we're grateful, blah, blah, blah. But I know that our own personal thanks in our solitude, when, we weren't talking about it, or maybe we're in our separate rooms, just laying in bed thinking, I know that they knew we were thankful. I know that they knew that we were very appreciative. And I think that sometimes we forget that. Well, why should I be grateful? They're never going to know. Well, what Victor Hugo here is saying is that your gratitude, it has wings. Your prayers know much more than you do about whatever situation. And I guess that's that kind of ties into how I was feeling this morning. You pray and you pray and you pray, but are you praying out of desperation, or are you praying because you know you're worth it and that you deserve it? Because that's where your prayer should come from. It should come from a place of that, you're worth it and you deserve it. Growing up, especially if you grew up in a religious family. Now, I grew up in a mixed family. I grew up with a person who had such a terrible religious experience as a child that they shun all religions. They go back and forth on whether or not there is a higher power, and then I grew up with the super Catholic. And it gave me the opportunity to kind of look at the world through two different pairs of eyes, and to kind of formulate my own opinion right in the middle. And one thing I know is that I was taught a lot of things about prayer. You don't pray for this, you don't pray for that, you don't pray for this, you don't pray. But then when you start venturing out on your own and you start learning about other people and their religions, or just religions that focus more on the spirituality as opposed to the traditional teachings that you learn in an organized religion, you start to see the world a little bit differently. Now, that's not for everybody, and I have nothing against anyone who subscribes to organized religion. That's your thing. And whatever gets you through the day, that's great. But what I want you to remember is everything that we were taught is not necessarily the truth. God is there to be there for us, to answer our prayers. Your higher source, whatever deity that you choose to lean into, the universe. They're not genies. No, they're not magic genies. Just rub a lamp and poof, they're out there. But you don't make wishes on them either. I mean, you can if that's your choice, but be careful what you wish for, right? Think it through. But when you're praying, or you're setting an intention, or you're trying to manifest something, do it from a place where you know you're worthy. Okay, I was always told by my mom that, you can't pray for money. Now, a lot of people pray for money and they do it out of desperation. I would just like an opportunity somewhere to make money. And you never know what's going to happen in the interim. My resume is everywhere. But it's not easy. Sometimes I think they see how much experience I have in certain things and start thinking, maybe they're a little too long in the tooth for us. Or maybe they figure, well, that was an abrupt thing. There's probably so many different reasons. Or maybe there's already a plan in place and my higher powers know exactly what is meant for me, but I just have to lean into trusting it and being good with the process of what is meant to happen, what is going to happen, and stop worrying about how it's going to happen. I went to a great seminar a while ago that says, focus on the what so the how can happen. Focus on the what so the how can happen. But see, I was always afraid to lean towards, because I'm a polytheist, which means I have a belief in a lot of different gods and goddesses. But God is my number one. All right? I'm sorry. And it's not a just in case thing. Somebody said, oh, is that just in case? It's like, no. Because it's like having friends. All of our friends, no two are alike. Everybody brings something beautiful and different to the table. Right? But it's, in a way, it's like a blanket. It's like that comfortable place. But I got to know a much different deity in this particular case than a lot of other people do. And I'm not saying my way is right, but my relationship with God is different than a lot of people's, because I'm not confining myself to a book that says no, 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 no. we're put here with higher powers to believe that anything is possible for us. And how can it be possible for us if we're afraid to ask for it? It doesn't mean you're going to get exactly what you're asking for. What it means is you may be given the courage. You may be given the strength, the determination, the nerve, the bravery to lean into things that you want to do that may bring you whatever it is that you're asking for. Because you're not asking for it, again, like they're a genie. I mean, come on, remember, when you think of wishes, a lot of times we think of genies, right? Or we think of birthdays. Like, oh, if there's a candle involved, I can make a wish. If there's a magical lamp, I can make a wish. But when we blow out that candle, you can always see somebody thinking really hard because they're thinking, this is the only wish I get. And then you see all these different stories about genies, right? You're like, oh, you take Aladdin, for instance. And 3 wishes, and you cannot ask for more wishes. That's what's different to me. Now, I know that some people will use it as, making wishes instead of manifestation, which is fine. I mean, if that word works, whatever word works for you. But in my world, where I live, in my brain, praying, intending, and manifesting, to me, are the truer, stronger words. Because when I take wish out, I think limitless. When I hear wishes, I think limited. And like I said, that's what works for me. That may not work for you. Your word for manifestation may be wish, like I wish, instead of I would like to manifest. And I think that's something that we can all learn, because it is a prayer that knows much more about it than we do. But you have to give it the wiggle room, whether it's a wish, whether it's a manifestation, an intention, a prayer. You have to give it the wiggle room. I cannot tell you how many times I've had to say this, and I will keep saying it because I know there's always going to be someone new who's just like, oh, right? But when you set these things, always put in there this or something better. This or something better. Because that's what gratitude is about. Gratitude is putting your prayer or your intention or your manifestation out there and trusting that it's going to happen. All right, so I'm going to read these 2 again. Lesson number 13 for gratitude was from yesterday, but I did not do one of these yesterday because it was a holiday. So when we focus on our gratitude, the tide of disappointment goes out and the tide of love rushes in. Kristen Armstrong. So again, when we focus on our gratitude, the tide of disappointment goes out and the tide of love rushes in. When you are feeling at your lowest, that is when you need to start using gratitude. You could be gratituding, I'm so happy and grateful for the plate in front of me. I'm so happy and grateful for the butter for my toast, or the knife to butter my toast with. People think that that's mundane and simple, but it's gratitude. Because there are different efforts that made it possible for that plate, that table, the chair, right? The toast, the variety of bread that's out there, the variety of butter, the knife. Go back 150 years. Not a lot of people had these things. Some of them were still traipsing across the United States trying to just make their way out here. You watch some of these shows that are a little bit more realistic than the old 50s shows that you see about pioneers, and it's pretty gruesome. It's pretty gnarly. But be grateful. Be grateful for every single one of these things that you have. I have little things that sit behind me, including that postcard thing. I think I got it from a BBC booth during Comic-Con one year. But even my little Lego things, I love them. I think they're adorable. But the very first one over here, right there, the little unicorn, that was the very first one I made. And yeah, I can be a big kid, but it's important to me and special to me because my nephew put it together. I was a complete idiot, just like, how the hell does this thing go together? All these little pieces in this tiny little Lego package, right? And they're a surprise. You never know what you're going to get. I got a Unikitty from the Lego movie. Love the Lego movies. But then I started collecting more and more. And the more I started collecting, it just always brings me back to the very first one because my nephews got me into that. So they hold a special place for me. My Doctor Who stuff. I love my Doctor Who stuff. It's a great fan community that I've been, welcomed into. And I mean, I'm not one of these people that does all the, I mean, I go to Comic-Con, but I don't, I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I don't normally get fanatical about different things. It's just, when you tweet every so often, or you're on Instagram or Facebook, you just find people that you connect with, and you're just like, whoa, let's talk about this for a little bit. Just those little social media groups that you find. But, and that was nice, because it's kind of like, oh, that genre, or not that genre, but that show goes back decades, I mean, not just the newer ones. It started back, about the early O's, but I mean, it went all the way from the 60s, I think, to the 90s ish. So more things to be grateful for. Okay. So again, when we focus on gratitude, the tide of disappointment goes out and the tide of love rushes in. I woke up upset. Sibling reminded me to be grateful for everything else I have in my life that is working out just fine. That changed the tide of my day. So thank you, Kristen Armstrong, for that one. And from Victor Hugo, to give thanks in solitude is enough. You do not always have to say thank you. If you cannot say thank you to the person you would like to be thankful to, just know that when even if you're in your own little moment, maybe you're laying in bed, or maybe you're by yourself in the car, and you send out a prayer of thanks or an intention of thanks, the prayer knows where to go. Okay? To give thanks in solitude is enough. Thanksgiving has wings and goes where it must go. Your prayers know much more about it than you do. If you put the right vibe, the right vibration onto that beautiful thought, it's going to know what to do. Just like you release doves, right? At funerals, at weddings. Everyone says, what the hell happens to them? They're trained to go back where they came from. Not too shabby for a bunch of doves that are shoved into a basket, okay? To make everything look really pretty. And it's fine. I've been there when doves have been released, and that was the first thing I thought. And strangely enough, I was standing near the keeper that I didn't realize was the keeper, because I didn't see who released the basket, or I think it was Sibling that released that opened the basket and let them fly. But they're trained to know they go home. They're trained to know where to go. Like homing pigeons, right? Homing pigeons, you tell them, hey, go to this person, and you give them some kind of signal, but they come back. So prayers know where to go. They have wings. Your intentions, your manifestations. And remember, this or something better. All right? You may not get exactly what you're asking for, but you are going to get what is meant to be in your life. And if you put this or something better on it, you are giving whoever your higher power is the wiggle room to do the work. You're giving that prayer the true big wings to fly and go where it needs to go, to do what it needs to do. Okay, so I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. I hope everybody had a great holiday yesterday. I am gratituding that the people in my neighborhood ran out of fireworks, because dang, I think until about 1 o'clock last night they were going off. But I know it's people having fun. I try not to say too much on 4th of July, because it's the 4th of July, but holy moly, it started like on July 1st. So anyways, that's my gratitude. My prayer is wings. Please fly in the right direction. So anyways, have a great day, everybody. I will see you back here tomorrow. Tomorrow is Self-Care Wednesday. So we covered this part. We covered the 2 days of gratitude. Because it is Self-Care Wednesday, I will be repeating these one last time. Just very quickly, not the whole discussion we've had today, before Self-Care Wednesday. But as usual, I'll start with a self-care ritual deck, and then we'll just go. I have more positive affirmations to share. I think they will be wonderful. I think they'll be great. I think they're things that we can implement into our lives. So I hope you tune in tomorrow. 8:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. That is California time. It is public, and it is live. Anybody can watch, okay, under Shelly Marie Lucas. Or you can catch the replay on the Aloha Perspective with Shelly Marie Lucas on YouTube. All right. And if you follow me on Twitter, I post them there too. And I also do a shorter version on TikTok that ends up on Instagram. So, if you follow me there, you'll see something. Okay. So again, have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to everybody tomorrow. Have a great day.